Have you ever stopped to think that the most valuable stories in the world might be inside you? In this video, you'll discover how to turn your memories into a true legacy, something that will touch hearts even when you're no longer here. Yes, it's possible to leave an eternal piece of yourself for your children, grandchildren, and the world. How many times have you looked back on the past and thought, that could be a book? The truth is, it really could. Every tear, every smile, every triumph, all of it is wisdom worth preserving. And more than that, it deserves to be passed on. If you're in the wisest phase of your life, know that now is the perfect time to write. Because now you see with more depth, now you feel with more truth, and now more than ever your voice needs to be heard. Grab pen and paper, or open a file on your computer. Because today we'll begin an exciting journey together, writing your memoirs and immortalizing who you are. Why write your memoirs? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why should you write your memoirs? Maybe you think your life has been ordinary, without grand achievements or cinematic adventures. But let me tell you a secret. The most precious stories aren't the ones in history books. They're the ones that live in the eyes of those who lived them, in simple gestures and moments that seemed small, but shaped who you are today. Writing your memoirs is, above all, an act of love for yourself, and for those who will come after. It's a powerful form of self-discovery, because when you write about the past, you begin to understand things you once only felt. You start to see the paths you chose, the whys, the lessons hidden in pain, and the miracles hidden in joy. Every memory you write is like lighting a lamp in an ancient hallway of the soul. And when you put these memories on paper, you're preserving your family's history. Think of your grandchildren, great-grandchildren, future generations. What a gift it would be if they could read your words, know their roots, understand where they came from, and see the world through your eyes. This goes far beyond a diary. It's a legacy, an invisible thread connecting yesterday to tomorrow. And more, writing your memoirs can inspire others. Maybe someone is going through a hard time, and reading about your strength, your resilience, gives them the courage to keep going. Sometimes sharing a weakness you overcame is exactly what someone needs to hear, to keep from giving up. And if you still doubt the value of your story, listen to this quote from French writer André Memoir. Memory is the treasure and guardian of all things. That's right. You are the guardian of experiences only you have lived, things that aren't in any book or photograph. Only you can tell them with the right depth, with true feeling, with the wisdom of someone who's truly lived. And it doesn't matter if you struggle with writing or don't know where to start. What matters is taking the first step. Write in your own way, with your own words, with your truth. Remember, writing your memoirs isn't about perfection. It's about immortalizing moments, feelings, lessons. It's about leaving a piece of your soul recorded for the world, a gift that transcends time. So take a deep breath and know that every word you write has value, that every memory is a rare jewel, and that, yes, you have a story worth telling. The art of remembering. How to access forgotten memories. Have you ever had that feeling of remembering something you didn't even know you'd forgotten? A scent that takes you back to childhood, a song that brings an unexpected tear, a word that lights up a scene long buried in your heart. Memory works like that, mysterious, almost magical. It doesn't respond to commands, only to invitations. And to access it, you need sensitivity and patience. Often when trying to write our memoirs, we think we've forgotten everything, that it's all faded away. But what's forgotten isn't lost. It's just stored in a special corner of the soul. So how do you open that silent drawer? How do you awaken memories covered by time's dust? Start with the senses. Smell a fragrance that marked your youth. Cook an old recipe from your mother or grandmother. Run your fingers over fabric that reminds you of a special garment. Play that song that soundtracked an unforgettable summer. The senses are keys. They unlock doors we didn't even know were closed. Old photos can help too. Saved letters, objects that have been with you for years, each with stories to tell. Sometimes just holding a ring, touching a teacup, feeling the weight of a book is enough to make the words start flowing on their own. Another powerful tip: write without overthinking. Take your notebook, pick a year, a place, or a person, and let the pen move. Even if it seems messy or incomplete, don't edit, don't judge. Just write. Memories come in layers. Sometimes the first sentence doesn't reveal much, but the second tugs at another memory, which brings an image, which carries a scent. And suddenly, you're there again, in your childhood living room, at the school where you met your first love, on the bus from that trip that defined your youth. Every memory is a door to another, and it all starts with a single step. And if a memory hurts, hold it gently. Not all memories are joyful, but every memory has its purpose, and writing about it can be healing. As poet Carlos Drummond de Andrade said, "Memories don't die. They just hide, waiting for a tender gesture." You're the only one who can bring these memories to light. You're the keeper of your past, and the artist who can transform it into words. So don't say you've forgotten. You just haven't remembered yet, but you will. Because memory isn't a locked cabinet. It's a garden that blooms when tended. Tend to your memories. Water them with love, with music, with silence. And you'll see how, little by little, they return more vivid than ever. And you, with pen in hand and an open heart, will discover that writing your memoirs is also a reunion with who you are. Your life is a treasure. Now that you've come this far, close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel within you everything you've lived until now. The joys, the losses, the reunions, the silences, the small things that seemed silly but changed everything. You carry an entire world inside. Your world only you know, only you've seen through these eyes, only you've felt with this heart in this world, deserves to be told, not out of vanity, but for truth, not to impress but to preserve. When you write your memoirs, you're not just recording the past, you're tending to the future. You're leaving a trail of light, a path back for anyone who wants to remember you, or even to find themselves through you. Maybe today you can begin with one sentence, one memory, one emotion still living inside you. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for the right words. Start with what you have, and trust your life exactly as it is already worthy of being written. And if this video touched your heart, if it awakened in you the desire to leave a legacy with words, then leave a comment below too. Tell us, what memory would you like to preserve, or who would you like to leave your story for? Your words might inspire others on this same journey, and if you know someone who needs to hear this, share this video. It's a gift from the soul. Subscribe to the channel for more reflections like this. Here, life's wisdom finds a voice, and every story matters. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening with your heart. And most of all, thank you for existing. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, write, feel, and remember, your story is pure gold. The value of everyday life, small things, hold great meaning. Have you ever noticed that when we look back, it's not the big events that touch us most deeply, but rather those simple, almost invisible moments that now live in our hearts? A cup of coffee with a friend, a grandchild's laughter as they run through the house, the smell of cake baking on an ordinary afternoon, the sound of rain while you lay comfortably at home. These are the scenes that truly endure. Because everyday life is where life happens. Many people think writing memoirs requires grand events, weddings, travels, profound losses, major decisions. But sometimes a small gesture holds more meaning than 1,000 words. Do you remember when your mother quietly brushed your hair, or that neighbor who always swept the sidewalk while singing, or the feeling of opening your first Christmas gift? These fleeting moments, so simple, reveal who we were, show what we felt, and say so much about the times we lived in. What seems small today may be a treasure tomorrow. Writing about everyday life is writing about what's eternal, about what builds the soul of a life. Talk about that chair you always sat in, The radio that played every day at 6 p.m. The neighbor who knocked on your door with a slice of cake just because there was some left. Every ordinary gesture carries a world of affection, culture, and memory. And when you write about it, you're preserving a piece of history no one else might tell. You are the keeper of these memories. They live in you. And by putting them on paper, you turn the simple into something sacred. Don't think anything is too silly to write. If it lives in you, then it deserves to be remembered. Think about it. Future generations may never know what a dirt road felt like, or how it was to play outside until dark, or the sound of ironing clothes while Roberto Carlos played on the radio. But if you tell them, they'll know, they'll feel it, and they'll be moved by the beauty of what was once ordinary and is now a living memory. As Clarice Lispector once said, to lose oneself is also a path, and sometimes it's in the simple, routine, unassuming paths that we find ourselves most. So when writing your memoirs, don't skip the ordinary days. They're the true backdrop of your story. Write about what no one sees, what no one remembers, what no one would tell, if not for you. And then, in the middle of a sentence about an afternoon coffee, you'll realize the greatness of life truly lives in the small things. Facing the void. What to do when words won't come. Have you ever sat with a pen in hand, notebook open, but the words just wouldn't come? The silence felt louder than the noise of the world. Your memory didn't respond. The desire was there, but the inspiration wasn't. If this has happened to you, breathe. It's normal. It's part of the process. Writing memories isn't like pressing a button. It's like lighting a candle. Sometimes it catches fire quickly. Other times it takes a while. And some days, it just won't light. But that doesn't mean failure. It means pause. It means your soul is nurturing something. And everything deep takes time to emerge. You might call this moment emptiness. But what if this emptiness is actually fertile ground? Necessary pause. A time for listening, not speaking. When words won't come, don't fight the page, don't blame yourself, don't force it. Writing isn't an obligation, it's an encounter. And encounters happen when both are ready, you and your memory. In these moments, shift your focus. Take a walk in the yard, flip through an old photo album. Listen to a song that marked your youth. Smell a recipe that was part of your childhood. Words live in the details. They often aren't born on paper, but in scents, sounds, textures of life. And when you least expect it, a line will want to come out. A memory will touch you. A piece of your story will ask to be told. Don't give up because of silence. Silence also speaks. Emptiness also teaches. There's beauty in allowing yourself not to produce. Because memory needs to breathe, rest, reorganize. And sometimes it's precisely on these days of pause that a forgotten memory awakens. A hidden emotion surfaces, and an old truth asks to be revealed. Remember, you don't have to write something perfect. You don't have to make it beautiful. You just have to be sincere. As Fernando Pessoa once said, everything is worthwhile when the soul isn't small. And your soul is vast, full of experiences, pains, joys, laughter, and tears. So if today wasn't the day to write, that's okay. Maybe today is the day to live, to remember, to simply feel. Tomorrow will bring new words, new bridges between you and your story. And when you return to the page, you'll bring the quiet strength that only emptiness can build. Keep going, even if slowly, even in silence. Because writing your memoirs isn't about chasing words, it's about welcoming them. When they decide to arrive, the art of storytelling, bringing details to life. Have you ever noticed how some stories stay with us for a lifetime? Sometimes they're not even grand events, just simple accounts, yet they move us, make us smile, or even cry. The secret lies in the details. Yes, and the details. They're the seasoning of memory. What turns an ordinary fact into something extraordinary? Look, it's not the phrase "I went to the market" that captures our attention, but rather, "It was a sweltering summer." Morning. The fruit stand gave off the sweet scent of ripe mangoes, and the vendor, with his crooked straw hat, smiled as if it were the best day in the world. Feel the difference? Telling stories isn't just about stating what happened. It's about painting the scene with words, making the reader or listener feel like they're right there with you. Think about the colors, the sounds, the smells, the emotions that were present, even if hidden. Do you remember your childhood home? Try describing the floor, the window, the smell of the kitchen in the late afternoon. How did the sunlight hit the backyard in July? Do you remember the first time you fell in love? What did their voice sound like? The nervousness rising in your chest, the light touch, the laughter for no reason. Every detail carries a truth, and when you put them on paper, you turn memories into living experiences. Don't be afraid to use your emotions. Don't be ashamed of being sensitive. The best stories are the ones that make us feel. And don't think you need fancy words. The beauty lies in simplicity, in the way you speak every day, in your unique way of seeing the world. And here's the thing, you have something no great writer will ever have. Your experiences, your truth, your perspective. The art of storytelling is about giving voice to what already lives inside you. The smell of beans cooking on the stove, the sound of the record player in the living room, your mother's embrace on the day you said goodbye. Don't worry about getting it right or wrong. Don't over-edit, feel first. Write later. You can use metaphors, comparisons, or just recount with care. You could say, time passed like a train without stops, or that pain stayed tucked away like a forgotten photo in a drawer. Or simply, it was a day I never forgot. Everything counts when it comes from the heart. As the Colombian writer Gabriel Garcia Marquez once said, life isn't what you lived, but what you remember, and how you tell it. So tell it with love, with soul, with details only you know, because in the end, every line you write is a piece of eternity, and your story, told with truth and detail, will be a gift that time can't erase. Setting a rhythm. Writing a little each day. Have you noticed how the most valuable things in life don't happen all at once? A flower doesn't bloom in a day. A cake isn't ready in 2 minutes. True love isn't built overnight. And writing your story doesn't have to be rushed either. Writing your memoirs is like tending a garden. It's done with patience, presence, and intention. A little each day. With care, with love. And over time, what was once a seed becomes a flower, a fruit, a legacy. Sometimes we think we need long hours to write, but the truth is, 10 minutes a day is enough. It's not the length of time that matters, it's the consistency, the habit. Choose the time that works best for you. Some prefer quiet mornings with the sunrise and a cup of coffee. Others feel more inspired at night when the day is done and the heart wants to speak. There's no magic formula, only your time, your way. Create a space for writing, a simple notebook, a planner, or even loose sheets of paper. Or if you prefer, type on your computer, whatever feels most comfortable. But give yourself this daily gift. Sit down, take a deep breath, and write. Even if it's just one line, one memory, one feeling, one unanswered question. And if one day you don't know what to write, that's okay. Write exactly that. Today, my mind is quiet, but my heart is still full of memories. Because even silence says something, and even empty days are part of the story. Remember, writing isn't a race, there's no finish line. The goal isn't to finish quickly, but to connect with yourself. Writing a little each day is also an exercise in being present. You observe yourself, you listen, you discover feelings you'd forgotten, and when you put them on paper, something inside you settles, quiets. And you know what's beautiful? Each day brings a new memory. Something forgotten that resurfaces. A moment awakened by a scent, a song, a thought. This daily process slowly reveals parts of you that were dormant, and without realizing it, you weave a tapestry of memories, strong, real, and full of soul. As the poet Carlos Drummond de Andrade once said, "To write is to forget." Literature is the most agreeable way of ignoring life. But in this case, to write is to remember, and the most beautiful way to honor life. So give yourself this time, this gift, this sacred habit. Write slowly, with care, with truth. And trust. The sum of small moments builds something eternal. Overcoming the fear of the blank page. You sit down with your notebook, or open your computer, and there it is, the blank page. Silent, intimidating. As if saying, "What do you have to say?" And then you hesitate. Is it worth it? Will I even know how to write? What if I forget something important? What if my words aren't good enough? Take a breath, relax. This fear is common. Many carry this worry not because they lack a story, but because they don't know how to tell it. But here's the truth. You don't have to be a writer. You just have to be real. The blank page isn't there to judge you. It's there to listen. It's like a silent friend, ready to hear whatever your heart wants to share. And you know what? You don't have to start at the beginning. You can write about the day you met the love of your life, or about a special conversation with your father. You can start with the memory of a childhood smell, a sound, a song, a photograph. Sometimes memories come slowly, as if waking up little by little. And in that gentle rhythm, your story takes shape. Remember, you're not writing for a publisher, you're writing for yourself. And for those who love you, every sentence is a piece of your soul taking form, gaining color, becoming eternal. You can write by hand, on loose sheets, in a diary, in an old notebook. You can type on a computer or record your voice. The medium doesn't matter. The message does. The intention does. And when fear creeps in, talk back to it. I'm not here to write a masterpiece. I'm here to free myself, to remember, to heal, and to leave something of myself in the world. Start by describing how your day went, or how you feel right now. Then write about something that deeply marked you, a loss, a joy, a new beginning. It doesn't have to be in order. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be yours. And when doubt hits, remember this quote from writer Maya Angelou. There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. Don't let your story sleep. It wants to be told. It wants to be felt again. It wants to touch hearts. The blank page, my friend, is an open door to your inner world. And today, right now, you hold the key. Pick up your pen. Take the first step. Write whatever comes. Because the most beautiful journey you can take now is the one that begins within you. Where to start? Places, people, emotions. Once you've overcome the fear of the blank page, the next question is, where do I begin? Life is made of so many stories, so many moments. It can feel overwhelming to choose a starting point. But the truth is, there's no right beginning, only yours. Some start with places that marked their soul. The house where you grew up with the smell of coffee and fresh bread. The school where you learned your first letters. The park bench where you met love. Or that dirt road where you walked with your father in silence, feeling the whole world in that shared glance. Write about these places as if describing them to someone who's never been there. What did the ground feel like? How was the sky? What sounds filled the air? What emotions came with them? Others prefer to start with people, those who shaped their story, for better or for learning. A wise grandmother, a childhood friend, a great love, a distant sibling, or even someone who hurt you but taught you about forgiveness. Writing about people is like reliving bonds. Sometimes you'll feel longing, other times pain, but all emotions are welcome, because that's where the truth of our existence lives. And some begin with emotions, moments of great joy or deep sorrow, the day your child was born, or the day you lost someone dear, the day you faced a huge fear and conquered it. Write what you felt, with honesty, with an open heart. Sometimes emotion guides memory. You might feel melancholy and suddenly remember a rainy afternoon dancing in the living room with your partner. or recall laughing until you cried with a friend who's no longer here. Every emotion is a key. Every key opens a door, and behind every door is a story only you can tell. And here's something beautiful. It doesn't have to be linear. You don't have to go from birth to today. You can write like someone strolling through a garden of memories, jumping from flower to flower, from memory to memory. One day you write about childhood, the next about retirement. Then you return to an old dream, stitching together the pieces of your life with threads of love. And if you ever wonder whether it's worth it, remember this quote from writer Isabel Allende. People die twice. First when they stop breathing, and second when they are forgotten. Writing. Your memoirs ensures you will never be forgotten. It plants seeds of eternity on the pages of life. It turns the ordinary into something sacred, the everyday, into a living legacy. So start where your heart leads. It could be a place, it could be a person, it could be an emotion. The important thing is to begin, because with every word you write, you'll rediscover yourself, little by little, and more than that, you'll leave a lighthouse shining for those who come after you.